Hello, Saskia, devotional goddess here. How are you? The energies continue to be intense, and they will continue to be intense for the year to come and probably the next couple of years. I'm coming on today to share with you about my Costa Rica trip. It was really monumental, and I'm going to cook as usual and share with you what I'm cooking. All right, let's just pause for a moment. All right, so let's recap. In the Instant Pot, I've got Thai chicken soup. In the oven, I've got roasted veggies, nicely seasoned with some olive oil, roasting away. And right here, I've got phyllo pastry. And I'm going to put an egg glaze on that. I'm going to cut it into little squares, put a little egg glaze, and then cut a rim around so that there's a little square in the middle. And I've got whipped cream with mascarpone, vanilla. What else did I put? Oh, and some saffron. Put some saffron in there too, and a little bit of sugar to put inside. My clients will construct it themselves. I'll just cook off the pastry and they will construct it themselves, which is always fun for the kids. So it will be whipped cream with mascarpone and vanilla, and then it will be a medley of strawberries and blueberries and blackberries and mango, all mixed together for this delicious fruit compote on a fruit salad, and they can construct it themselves. So that will be delicious. So around this time last year, a dear friend who lives in Massachusetts reached out to me. She does yoga retreats. Elaine O'Rourke. I will add her information below. She is so worth going on a retreat with. So she decided, I want to experiment this year and see how it feels to co-teach with a fellow yogi of the same lineage, Yoga Spirit Studios lineage from Kim Valerie. And that is, so I was the first, and she'll be doing a Tuscany, I think in the spring, with another Yoga Spirit alum. So that is what I just did. So she called me up around this time last year and invited me to join her in Costa Rica to co-teach. And I was like, wow. It was one of those moments where you're like, how do I pull that off with 2 young kids and being a single mum? And also, but there's no way I can pass up this opportunity. Spirit ensured that I got this. So how do I make this work? And in my mind's eye, I'm like, it's a year from now, I'm going to be in a better place than I am right now, and it's all going to be fine. So I just took the leap. I seized the moment. Yes, I was a little anxious. Yes, I was like, how do I do this? But I trusted I was being held. I trusted. So the whole journey was about trust and surrender. So I had the learning curve of a deeper layer of understanding how to promote, how to share. So it was an upload on how to work with social media as well, another layer of learning. Not comfortable, but I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to rise to the occasion. I'm going to align with Elaine. And, she's been doing these retreats for about 15 years now. So she's really well versed in it. So I felt really blessed to be able to witness and learn from what she did, how she did it. All right now I'm just cutting up some pastry. And I'll give you a visual of what's going on in just a moment. All right. So that was a learning curve, posting more I had hoped to have signed up more people, but I was still in my learning curve. And branching out in my knowledge of social media and how to reach out to you all. So I got who I got. My mentor reminded me of, you're on this journey for a reason. Don't beat yourself up because you haven't got as many people as you had hoped to recruit. So that was the first step of it, was understanding and being compassionate with myself of like, no, you did the best you could. You planted the seed. This is the first time you've ever had this kind of experience, this kind of reaching out to the general public for such a large thing as a yoga retreat in a foreign country. All of that was new territory to me. So my mentor reminded me of that and was like, hey, be kind, be passionate, compassionate to yourself. And you're doing fine. You're doing fine. So that helped me release some of the guilt of, she brought me on to bring more people in and I feel like I haven't shown up enough. And so phase 1 of compassion, self-love, holding steady without that guilting, without that feeling bad about not having achieved the layer I had hoped to achieve. Always a life lesson, always so important, because the more we work on that, the more we release that old programming of should've, why didn't I do better, whatever our own unique dialogue is. I think for everyone it's not nice at some point, and it just is another guilt story that holds us back from being in our truth and in our divine essence. So it's very much been a journey of mine and a commitment of mine in this last year to really witness when that voice comes up and to hold it in more love and release it, let it go. All right, so fast forward to the retreat. I booked the flights, organized the girls, made sure that they're at their dad's. I had backup for a possible snowstorm, which indeed did happen, as we all know, and organized the food, who's staying with them, how they get from A to B. I did all that behind the scenes, preparing best I could. We also have cell phones, thank goodness, so they could communicate with me daily, and that helped them feel secure as well. One child more than the other. Each child is different. So, being in Costa Rica, if you've never been, we were in the Osa Peninsula, which is at the bottom, and it's known for having its own ecosystem. That has birds there that are indicative of just that area. And there are birds and animals that are there that are only in 1 or 2 or 3 other spots in the world. So it's very special, very magical. A fave for surfers. So if you like surfing, it's a good place to go. So in arriving, my co-teacher, Elaine, has been doing this for 15 years. We arrived on a Saturday. Saturday evening was the first class, and it was an opening circle. It was beautiful. We set the intention. We all honored that we were here to start in a new chapter. And we consciously let go, or held the intention of letting go of that what was weighing us down and that we didn't need. Now, I'd already started that process consciously before I left. The week before I left, I was starting to get sick with something, and I was conscious of pull back, do less, amplify the vitamin C, the echinacea, all the supplements that I had. I gathered them in, made sure I got enough rest, made sure I got good night's sleeps, made sure I was eating foods that was raising my energetic frequency, raising my immune, and holding myself in that higher consciousness. It was a really important initiation before I left. Part of me could see me at home, sick, really upset that I wasn't in Costa Rica. And the other part of me saw me there. And once I was aware of this duality, I made a choice. I'm like, no, I am going. I deserve this. I am not sabotaging this. I am not entertaining being sick, staying home. I have earned this rite of passage, and I am stepping fully into it. And I am ensuring and doing everything in my power to ensure that this is going to be my reality. That I'm going to have my feet on the sand. I'm going to feel that warm wind. I'm going to feel the sun on my face. I'm going to see myself waking up in a different bed in my room in Costa Rica in this retreat. I really consciously honed in to the destiny and the outcome that I wished to have. This was part of my initiation. In life, we always have initiations. They're choice points where we choose to make different life choices than we have in the past. And we always have micro initiations throughout our lives. Now, I'm not saying any decision is right or wrong. It is just a cognitive choice point where we have the opportunity to follow through in our old patterns of what was familiar and normal, or moving into a new way of being that is exciting, scary, but you know it's an invitation for a rebirth. So when I arrived, I was prepared for the changes. All right, thanks. So, my mantra was, I'm in paradise. I deserve this. And just being present to the absolute abundance and beauty that resided in our environment, what we were eating. There was so much richness all around that it really, I allowed it to nourish my soul. And throughout, there were many times where it was uncomfortable. There were many times that I was aware that before I left, it was going to be an energetic upgrade. That it was an opportunity for me to shed an old reality and step into a new. I'd not done week retreats before. I do my day retreats. I have taught teacher trainings. I've held sacred space in multiple ways, but not in this capacity, not within this cohort. There were 19 women in total. We had this beautiful yoga deck that looked out beyond the jungle onto the ocean. So every morning in practice, that was our view. First in the morning, before we taught class to the students, Elaine and I did our own practice. And it was quickly aware to me how beautiful her practice was and how comprehensive her practice was. And that mine wasn't. It was what it was. It was what I'm familiar with doing, and witnessing that I had stagnated. And my continued practice was to hold that with compassion. Notice every now and then that my storytelling around it, well, I'm a single mother, or I just, I'm still healing from the cancer journey. It's like, no, I'm not going to play those stories. It doesn't matter. Just see this as an opportunity. So I managed to witness my thoughts And again, make another thought. Not a story, not a dialogue, but consciously hold myself in love. And my Christmas visit with my family had shown me that I was more able than ever to do that. And now I had a second opportunity. So that's the thing, when we have a growth spurt, just like we've seen it in our kids or our nieces and nephews or whomever, if you're not a parent yourself, once we have a growth spurt and we bring about a new norm and we integrate a new teaching, we have opportunities to refine it, and we get tested in a way. We used to get tested by our teachers of like, okay, we've just done fractions, let's do some more to see if you understand it in this context and this context. And it's expanded out within the context that you just learnt it. The same with us as adults, the same with life. Once we have come to grasp a new concept, it shows up with a slightly different coating, a different jacket, a different environment, different language, but the essence is the same. And now I had this opportunity. I was in a situation where two very accomplished yoga teachers came together, and one had a more refined, well-rounded asana practice than the other. And I made that choice of admiring her practice. And after a couple of days, voicing, I love your practice, and thank you for showing me where I want to move towards. I've become a little stagnant in my practice, and you're showing me where I want to move to and expand into. And that was liberating. But I couldn't do that until I'd first held myself in love, non-judgment, and in compassion. And once I held that for myself, then I could have that clean dialogue with her, acknowledging how our practices were different, without any storyline, without any excuses, just thank you. I look forward to having a practice like yours again. I once had that, and I'm going to have it again. And multiple situations like that came about throughout this week, where I was able just to retreat to the beach, or retreat to my room, or to the hammock, which was just outside the room. There were ample opportunities to step out and be in communion with myself, hold myself in love, and allow myself to reframe and create a new reality. And there were multiple times that I really felt quite uncomfortable. But I held it. I just held it. And I held it with love. I held it with compassion. And I allowed myself to feel the feelings and breathe through it. Not push it down, not be in avoidance, but to hold it. And we need inner steadiness in order to hold the discomfort. And sometimes for quite a while there, I had my teachers hold that space for me because I wasn't able to do it yet. But they could hold it, and in their holding it, they helped me to transmute it in time and make it my own. Sometimes we need someone further along on the path to hold that frequency for us, so that we can know what that feels like. Not cognitively, but energetically. You might have a grasp of it cognitively, of like, this person feels different, nice and steady and unwavering. But if you don't embody it, it's hard to put words to. So the more that you surround yourself with people that hold that steady frequency, you can begin to imprint that energetic imprint and absorb it into your frequency, and in turn allow it to be your own, resonating with your own frequency. All right, And we're back. So staying with self and holding that compassion. This is what the energy that we need to cultivate. This is where we're moving to as a society. If we can't hold ourselves in compassion, we're not going to be able to do it for anybody else. And the more we allow ourselves to hold ourselves in love, hold ourselves in compassion, we will have greater empathy and understanding for others, because we know, we've been through the journey of, that wasn't always easy to hold love for myself. That wasn't always easy to hold compassion for myself. When we cultivate it and become intimately connected to it, we will naturally extend it out to others. And when there are others that we find it really hard to do that to, then you'll have that acknowledgement of, what do they have that I have in me? What are they reflecting for me to look at? What shadow part of myself do I not like to look at, and that I don't find attractive or nice or kind, or a part that I don't want to really admit is within me? And how can I hold that with more compassion? There were many more insights and revelations that I had in this time away, but it really solidified why I do my day retreats. I have 5-day retreats in the course of the year, and it really is to support women to step out of life, to find that center point within themselves, reflect on, what truly do I want? How do I enrich my life? What limiting beliefs do I have that are holding me back and keeping me stuck in old patterns? And what are the steps that I need to take to draw outwards? I hold that sacred space for these insights to arise, because every person is individual. Every person is different. I will show and hold a template for you, but you will take the journey yourself. And through that journey, you will begin to find that self-empowerment. These are great times of change, and we will continue to be tested. And the more we know how to come back to self, how to hold that love within our own hearts for ourselves, the more we will be able to thrive and rise above and support others in rising above. And as I talk now, I even see love in my mind's eye written out in capital letters. And that's what I felt when I was in Costa Rica. When I held that space of love for myself, it was all the big love for self. That central part that is unwavering, that only we can cultivate within our own hearts. And once, the more we do it, the more we build upon that love, the more we're going to see it in others, and the richer our connection with other people is going to be, because we're going to attract bigger love, truer love, heart-centered love. So much love. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in one of my day retreats. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah.
I have someone wants to say hi.
Hi.
All right. Much love, and until the next time, bye for now.